All right, I'm here with Coach Tanner Benedict. He is the head coach of the El Paso Gridley football team. This is his 5th season in charge. Combined record through those first 4 seasons, 24-16. I came up with that just now. I did that all in my head. But Coach Benedict, thank you for making time to come here and let me ask you some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here, so thanks for your coverage.
All right, let's jump right in with the first question. And as I said, this is your 5th season in the program. Again, 24-16 record. You've made it to the playoffs 4 out of 4 attempts. And how are you personally feeling ahead of your 5th season with this football program?
Yeah, excited to get after it again. Just finished our first official week of the season here in August. Anytime you have consistency on your staff, it definitely plays well for the upcoming season. We definitely have that going for us. Our staff's basically been together the whole 4, now 5 years, so I'm extremely pleased with the job they've done, and they do a lot of behind-the-scenes work that I certainly have been thankful for, and it has been really good for our program. Just the effort from the kids. I have a lot of good things to say about a lot of different kids. I mean, there's a lot of kids that have been bought in. Our off-season attendance has definitely been the best this summer that it's been. So it's a big credit to those kids that have bought in to what the previous players have also kind of demonstrated as well.
And you kind of mentioned a little bit like the coaching staff, how they've been with you all through their 4 or 5 years that you've been in charge. Could you kind of tell us how the philosophy of your coaching has evolved ever since you've come into EPG?
Yeah, it's kind of unique. Starting a few years ago, I felt like I was one of the younger ones on the staff, and I was, tasked with leading the charge. So definitely have leaned on them, and I think just each year, you kind of adapt and you change and tweak some things. But really the biggest things for me, just as I reflect on my kind of short career so far, has just been communication and consistency. Coach Bielema down in Illinois preaches that a lot. I've heard him say those 2 things before. Just anytime you're communicating with players, staff, administration, community members, anything, I think the more consistent you can be year in and year out, you set yourself up for an opportunity for success, and that's kind of the biggest thing that I've tried to display.
Yeah, you were talking about consistency, and you have been very consistent with making it to the playoffs, but then again, you haven't quite been able to make that next step. And where do you feel this program is at currently? Do you feel like it's now time to make that next step in like making it through the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely proud of what we've done the last 4 years, and at the same time, as a competitor, you want more, and I feel that from our players, and I think too, just it's so easy to look ahead, right? And no matter what it is, whether it's sports or anything in life, to always look ahead, to want something more, and we certainly want to feel more success in the playoffs. We have to tackle our main objective though is to tackle what's exactly in front of us that day, and we had a Saturday practice this morning. Today's objective was very evident. It was a physical day. It was our first full padded practice. It was be as good as we can be, both mentally and physically today. I believe if you stack days after days doing that eventually leads to that success you're talking about in the postseason. So although yes, one of our long-term goals is to have more success down the road, right now in the moment, we need to be more kind of nearsighted and just look at what's ahead of us.
And is that kind of an expectation that you have this season to kind of make that next step, or do you think that just making it to the playoffs would just be a success in itself again this season?
No, sure. I mean, it's definitely something I think is very attainable for us to do. Like any season, teams that maintain their health for the majority of the 9 weeks, that get better each and every week, tackle what's in front of them. I think that those are the types of teams that set themselves up good. The thing that we have going for us is our schedule gets us playoff ready. So I think our schedule week in and week out prepares us for those opportunities you're talking about, after week 10. And if we continue to maintain our composure and kind of, see what's ahead of us with our schedule, I think that we can be in a good spot in week 11.
Well, you kind of mentioned like the team a lot, like in your answers so far. Like, is there like a specific mentality that you have within the squad right now with the players?
I think the mentality of our team right now is really just, as coaches, we've thrown a lot at them. I think physically you can see the improvements. I think they feel it. I think they feel strong. I think they feel fast. We're starting to get our conditioning a little more. But I think the mental side of the game is, I hope that their mentality is they want to get better in that area. I think it's really easy to go into a season or go into a practice and feel like, we have to execute all these plays. Well, we have to catch the ball, we have to tackle, we have to block, all that stuff. But really, there's a mental side of that is just as important, and that's one thing we've tried to preach a lot lately. And I think our players are starting to understand the importance of that.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of like a getting better mentality, and well, kind of what are some things that you think right now you guys can get better at come 2 weeks time against Reed Custer?
I think physicality. I think that's the biggest one. The game is a physical game, and the teams who are the most physical have the best chance to win, in my opinion. That's something that I think across the board we can be better at. I think, oftentimes when you think physicality, you think, what's up front, and that's definitely an area where we've seen some growth in an early, week of the season here in practice. But it goes much further than that too. It's our receivers on the outside, their willingness to block, maybe when they're not getting the ball. Our running backs get involved in the blocking game a lot. We've ran our quarterback in years past a lot, and we'll plan to do that again this year. Our DBs and our safeties have to be active in the run game, and so it's really across the board where, if we can be physical, I think that makes our team that much better.
Yeah, that's very good to hear. But I kind of already asked this, but with this current set of players, you've talked about it a lot, like with the playoffs and whatnot. But do you think that this specific team can make it to Week 11? Because I see a lot of potential within the team that you have, but I don't know as much as you. But kind of what do you see in this team as far as the playoffs goes?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think to have a great opportunity to get a Week 11 is making sure you do what you need to do in the regular season.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so for us, our first and foremost thing is Week 1. When we get to Week 1, that's our main objective, is to win Week 1. Oftentimes, I have to say throughout the season, no matter what our record is, our goal is to go 1-0 this week. In football, the way that the high school playoffs are set up, the better your record is, the more playoff points you have, the better your seeding is, and you give yourself an opportunity to maybe, it's all about matchups at that point, right? And so if you have a good matchup when the playoffs pairings come out, you may find yourself in a better spot than another team with a similar record than you, just because of who you played, right? So that kind of goes back to the schedule that I was talking about. So I do think this team has it in, absolutely.
All right, well, that's pretty much all the questions I have, except is there anything that you kind of want to say to the community? Because I'm sure they're excited as much as you and I are. Yep. So is there anything that you want to say?
Well, just growing up here and then playing, being a Titan in high school and now having the opportunity to coach, I'm so thankful for just the community that we have in general. And it goes just much further than the support that we feel on the football field. Just to be able to raise a family here and live here my whole life. Something I'm proud of, and our players too. It's easy in the the grind of winter workouts, in the dog days of summer, and then into like a Saturday practice like we had this morning when it's hot. To kind of lose sight of some of those things. But I think when they step out on the field on a Friday night, especially having the opportunity to open at home weeks 1 and 2, to feel that community support, to see the student section show out the way they do, the energy that they have. Our players, I know, are super grateful for the community that we have as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach Benny, thank you so much for your time to, again, come in and just let me ask you some questions about the upcoming season. And I can tell you're excited. I'm excited. My dad recording is excited. We're all excited. So thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.